Hey everyone, Giselle here, and today I'm here to share with you my NEWTs 2018 TBR and my OWL wrap-up. OWL's wrap-up, we're just gonna jump right in. So, basically what I decided to do, since I didn't really read it all in April and I completely missed OWLs, is that I did my OWLs in July instead. So if you're planning to do your OWLs in August instead of doing NEWTs and doing your NEWTs later, hopefully you can get some ideas from the books that I'm talking about for my OWLs if you want to do them in the future. Anyway, so let's go over the OWLs that I did really quickly. I did, because I'm extra, I'm a Ravenclaw, so I feel like I have to complete every single challenge, so I did end up completing all 12 so that I'd have options, all the options. I want to do everything. So let's just go over my OWLs really quickly. Hi Keisha, and sorry if I'm talking weird, I have a cough drop in my mouth because I'm still sick, yay. So, for OWLs, the first one is to read a book with a symbol on the cover. I don't know if this technically counts, but I counted it. I mean, it's more like a silhouette. There's a symbol of like passing time. I don't know. I'm gonna count this. It's very a stylized cover, so I used it, but I don't know if it really technically counts. I was a little confused onto what like a symbol on the cover actually meant. Anyway. Hi Elizabeth. Okay, so that was my first OWLs, and that was for what was that for? Ancient Runes. So the next one is Arithmancy, and that's to read a book with a number on the cover or in the title. So I went with She Persisted, 13 American Women Who Changed the World by Chelsea Clinton. This is a children's book. Oh, by the way, the last one, all the Ever Afters, I liked, but I think I'm actually going to change my rating down to a 2-star. It was okay. It was more okay for me than me actually enjoying it. You ended up doing 7 OWLs, which means you have to do 21 books for the NEWTs. You're choosing to, but yeah, that's a lot of books. Good luck. You're a cough drop connoisseur. Nice. She Persisted was really, really cute and really inspiring, and it's just about women who didn't let society and other things get them down. It was great. So, boom, number 2 done. So number 3 was Astronomy, and for that it's to read a science fiction novel. So I read Caliban's War. This is the second book in the Expanse series by James S.A. Corey, and I really like this one. I think I like this one better than the first one. It's really crazy, like horror, sci-fi, and if you enjoy space operas, I recommend you picking this series up if you haven't yet. Next one is to read a book that includes magical creatures or features a magical creature on the cover, and that was for Care of Magical Creatures. And for that I ended up reading Phoenix and Ashes, because there's a giant freaking phoenix on it, and there's a salamander, so I won double, because there's 2 magical creatures on this. And I really like this. It's a Cinderella retelling set during, set during World War I. So then the next one was for Charms, and that is to read a fantasy book. And I ended up reading Leaping Beauty and Other Animal Fairy Tales by Gregory Maguire. This is a collection of like, I think 8 fairy tales retold with animals, and it was really cute. I laughed hysterically throughout it. I really enjoyed most of the stories from this, and this was such a surprise coming from Gregory Maguire, because it's unlike anything I've ever read by him before. Hi Libby. Alright, so then the next one is Defense Against the Dark Arts, and it's to read a book about / featuring secret societies or clubs. And for that, I just finished it today. I made this by the skin of my teeth. European Travel for the Monstrous Gentlewomen by Theodora Goss. This is book 2 in the Extraordinary Adventures of the Athena Club. So, obviously, it's about the Athena Club. You could definitely use book 1 for this challenge as well. It's all about secret societies. And this is, book 1 is a retelling, a mishmash of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Rappaccini's Daughter, The Island of Dr. Moreau, Frankenstein, and Sherlock Holmes. And then book 2 added in a few more as well. Like Dracula and Carmilla. So they're really great, and I really, really love them. And I'm really excited that I finished this book. It was a beast. It's over 700 pages, so it did take me a while to read, but I really, really liked it so much. Ancient Runes, Arithmancy, Astronomy, Charms, History, Magic, Muggle Studies, and Transfigurations. You haven't done your owls yet. That's kind of the nice thing about it, is that you can just do it whenever you want, though. Like, I did mine in July. You could do yours in August or September. Just to choose a month that fits, that works well for you, and you can just do them whenever. Which I think I want to start doing that for readathons in general, is I want to start just, like, doing them whenever I feel like it, because it inspires me to structure TBRs off of things like this. Okay, next one. Divination is the next one. And that is to read a book with a nature-related word in the title. And for that, I read Snow White, graphic novel, because of snow. And this is by Matt Phelan. This is a really, really beautiful graphic novel retelling of Snow White set in the 1920s. It was beautiful. I loved it, and I really, really recommend this. It will take you 20 minutes to read, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Please read this book. Hi, Bruna. I feel like I missed something here, but whatever. Herbology is to... No, I definitely missed something up right here. Maybe these two got switched. Okay, this makes more sense. To read a book about prophecies, I read Princess Sonora and The Long Sleep. Those two got flipped up. Sorry, I apologize. Divination is to read a book. I was like, that doesn't make sense, but okay. Divination is to read a book featuring prophecies, and herbology is to read a book with a nature-related word in the title. That makes so much more sense. Okay, Princess Sonora and the Long Sleep by Gail Carson Levine. This is a retelling of Sleeping Beauty. I feel like it's almost cheating because it's not so much a prophecy as a curse, but at the same time, this curse is totally, like, prophesying what's going to happen. So I counted it, and this is another one that I really loved this month. My favorite book out of the series. It's the 3rd book in a 6-book-long series. They're each just like 100 pages long. They'll take you an hour to read, and they're so funny, just hysterical retellings of fairy tales. Keisha, I can go over that at the end if you want with me. That's what I was going to do, is I was going to go buy my books tonight, actually, so we can do it together. Okay, so the next one is History and Magic. That is to read a historical fiction, and for that I read Wives and Daughters by Elizabeth Gaskell. I could have chosen many more books for this, but I don't know, technically this isn't historical fiction because it was about the time that it was written in. Actually not, I think it's set 20 years before the year it was written, but now it's historical fiction because it was written in, like, what, the 1860s? Yeah, 1866. It's historical fiction now. And I really like this one as well. I'm so glad that I finally have finally read this book, and I can read some more of Elizabeth Gaskell's works now because I really enjoy her. Okay, great, let's do it. Chris already bought his. He bought 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and Hyperion. So those are the other two that I got as well. Okay. Next one is Muggle Studies. And so the challenge for that was to read a Muggle nonfiction book, and for that I read another children's book. That was Little Leaders, Bold Women in Black History by Vashti Harrison, and this is 40 Black women. I think it's American history. 40 Black women in American history who were awesome and totally accounts for nonfiction. Yay. Next one is, let's see, potions, and that is to read a book about / with alchemy. So I read Alchemy and Maggie Swan, it's right in the title, by Karen Cushman, and I really liked this. I'm so glad that I finally read this. It's like extremely historically accurate and really informative. If you just want to read a book telling you what people thought about alchemy in the late 1500s and how people were going about trying to do that, read this book. You'll learn a lot. It's super short and not dull at all. Weird to think about how a lot of the books we're reading will probably be historical fiction. It is weird. The 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea looked really good, so I'm totally cool that Chris bought that. I don't think I've actually ever read 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I think the only book I've read by him is Around the World in 80 Days. You're so shady. And then finally, the last one is Transfiguration, and that is to read, oh goodness, to read a book that deals with transfiguration / shape-shifting or similar theme, or a book with a cat on the cover. So there was a lot you could have done for this, and I chose For Biddle's Sake by Gail Carson Levine, and this is a retelling of Puddocky. It has very strong similarities to the Frog Prince, but basically Puddocky is that there's this like fairy that or for the retelling For Biddle's Sake is basically there's a fairy that likes turning people into frogs, but there's like a limit of how many frogs she's allowed to make every year, because the ruler of the fairies is like, okay, you turn way too many people into frogs, so you can only turn 3 people into frogs every year. And so she has a little girl living with her, and she really loves the little girl, and so she stops turning people into frogs because she hates it, the little girl does. And then one day she decides to turn someone into a frog, and the girl jumps in front and gets turned into a frog. So it's about this girl who gets turned into a frog and what she does about it. And it was really cute and funny. I've seen The Mysterious Island. Does that count? I've seen the movie. I must have watched that. I mean, I watched it when I was younger, and I was like, I had like very vivid memories of it. So then I actually ended up watching it like when I was like 16 or 17, I think, and I was like, oh gosh, this movie's such trash. I haven't seen 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea since I was like 7, and all I remember about it is the song. Oh, Whale of a Tale. Oh, good times. Hi, Judith. Alright, and that's it. I did all my owls. Like I said, I just finished European travel for the Monstrous Gentlewoman. I was getting kind of scared that I wouldn't finish it in time, so I like kind of had to force myself a bit, but I did it. Alright, so now let's move on to the NEWTs readathon. I don't have these opened up yet, so I apologize, but let's go through in sets of 3. Alright, so basically, if you don't know, you would have heard this in every single person's TBR. For NEWTs, you have to, in order to pass your NEWTs, you have to get 1 outstanding and 1 acceptable. So you only have to read 4 books. But basically how it works is that you have to do an acceptable first, and then you can do an exceeds expectations, and then you can do your outstanding. So if you read just your outstanding, you won't get any marks at all. There you go. And that's how it works. Watch G's video from the book roast if you want a better explanation. She does a really good job of it. Sorry, I'm sick. She does a really good job of it, so watch that if you want. But for now, let's just show you what I've picked out. This is subject to change, but I've pretty much got it nailed down, and most of this has been the same for like the past month. I need to reread that book as well. She lived so close to where I live right now. I've been to her house several times in the past year, and I would really like to read her books again. But the nice thing is that I passed all of my OWLs, so now I can do any NEWTs that I want. Yay! Okay, so the first one is Ancient Runes. The first one is to read a book set in the past, and for that I chose The Bride by Julie Garwood. This is set, I think it is, I think it's medieval. I think it's pre-1200 or pre-1300, but don't quote me on that. I think it's definitely the latest 1400. Definitely historical fiction, set in the past. And I read one other book by Julie Garwood and really liked it a lot, so I'm super excited to get to this one. The next one is to read a book, one of your most ancient books on your shelves that you haven't read yet. Well, technically, I don't think I actually own this book, but Lady Susan by Jane Austen. I read all of Jane Austen's 6 normal novels when I was 14. So now, like 9 years later, I feel like I should maybe read her short story, her like mid-length novel that a lot of people classify with her normal 6 novels. So I should finally get to this, and I'm just going to listen to it on audio from the library. But I'm hoping to love it. I've heard it's so good. So, Lady Susan, finally happening. And finally, the last one is to read a book translated from another language, and for that I chose The Little Prince by, I don't know how to say his name, Ton de Saint-Esprit is how I'm guessing it said, but Anyway, this is translated from French. It's super short, and I've been wanting to read it for ages. It's now the Return of Tarzan. Nice. You have still yet to read an Austen, even owning all of them. Start with Pride and Prejudice. It's the best one. Well, it's not my favorite, but it's the best. The Owl and Newts is really well thought out. It is. She put so much work into it, you can tell. And it's going to be yearly. True indeed. Alright, so next 3 books. Let's get them open. Okay. First one. This is for astronomy. To read a book. Whoa, I have these out of order. Is that right? No, I skipped one. Okay, so arithmancy. There we go. The next one is arithmancy. To read a book at least 300 pages long. This one is 400 pages long. And that's Flirting with Fire by Kate Metter. And this is a book about firefighters. I'm reading it purely because it is part of my summer book bingo that I'm doing. My summer romance book bingo. You have to read a book about firefighters, so this is the one I chose. Purely because I could get it on the Audible package. Audible romance package. Yay. Okay. My favorite Jane Austen novel is Northanger Abbey. Pride and Prejudice is a very close second, though. But Northanger Abbey, I think, will always be my favorite. Hashtag lies you told yourself. Okay, arithmetic. To get an E and exceeds expectations, you have to read a book that ends on an even number of pages. So for that, I chose Suddenly You, which ends on a 4. Yay. Enough said. A lot of these I'm reading, all the ones that are highlighted in purple, in case you're wondering, I'm reading for my summer romance book bingo challenge. So those are like the priorities. And the last one is to read a book that is not first in a series. And for that, I'm reading book 3 in the FBI/US Attorney series by Julie James. And that is About That Night. Okay. Okay, so the next one is astronomy, and that's to read a book with stars on the cover. And this is the only one that I have 2 options for because I'm so up in the air about it. Basically, if I want to take the time to physically read it, I'm dying to get to Sparkle Witch by Helen Harper, sorry. This is the 3.5 in the Lazy Girl's Guide to Magic series. It's the last book in the series. I really need to read it. I read the rest of the series back in January. But this one's not on audio, and I just haven't gotten to it yet because of that. But I really, really want to get to it. But I'm thinking at this point I might just save it for, like, Christmas. We'll have to see. Anyway, I put it on the list just in case. The other option for this I do have on audio, though, and that is Baker's Magic by Diane Zeller? Names, they're hard. Okay. And you named your cat Darcy. Nice. Good Price is Elizabeth. You just got Sparkle Witch on your Kindle and you're super, super excited too. Good. Maybe we should read it together and that will, like, motivate me to finally pick this book up. Oh my gosh, Keisha, you're incorrigible. Anyway, so those are my 2 options. They both have stars on the cover. They both need to get read. This one I'm very excited about, but I do care more about some of her other books, so if I don't get to this one, I won't be heartbroken. She has a bunch of fairy tale retellings that are, like, technically higher priorities, but whatever. Does this have stars reflecting in the water? Guys, what do you think? Are those stars? Are these stars right here? If those are stars, I might listen to this one instead. Oh, well. Next one is to read a book that has the word sky in the title, and I really struggled with this. Finally, I cheated, and I went with Sky Color by Peter H. Reynolds. It's not cheating for the fact that it does have sky in the title, but, I mean, I just chose, like, a short children's book. I think it's fantasy, though, Bruna, so it wouldn't have city lights. Anyway. And it's not very long, so it shouldn't take as long. I know, but it's the fact of having to physically read it that I'm such a bum. Anyway, Peter H. Reynolds, I don't know if I've read any of his books yet, but I've seen them at the bookstore and I want to read his books. So I'm like, hey, I might as well start with this one and I can check it out from the library just, like, digitally and read it, like, on the computer or something. It'll be fine. You know, because it's 32 pages long. For this, I do have other options that I had, like, lined up over here that I'm like, oh, I could read so many books. Starry River of the Sky, The Sky Stone, Sky in the Deep, The Burning Sky, Threats of the Skies, Hattie Big Sky. And then Sky the Blue Fairy is like book 5 or something in one of those fairy series that you guys were telling me to read. So I'm like, I could read any of those instead. And maybe I will. This one's pretty temporary though. Who knows? I'm just not in the mood for any of those other books. Does that count, Elizabeth? Are you cheating? And finally, for astronomy, a story that is set on a different planet/world, I chose Old Man's War by John Scalzi because I really want to read more John Scalzi. I've only read Fuzzy Nation and I loved it, so I need to read this as well. Yay! What's next? Okay. So the next one is Care Magical Creatures. The first one is to read a book with an animal on the cover. And for that, I chose Box of Frogs by Helen Harper. Another Helen Harper book. I really like her a lot. And this is for book 1 in the Fractured Fairy series. And it's brand new and there's 3 frogs on it. So I think I win 3. I mean, she did say to interpret it however you want. And yeah, you love Old Man's War. I'm pretty sure I'll like it a lot too. Okay, the next one is to read a book under 160 pages. And for that, I chose Rappaccini's Daughter because it's 112 pages. And this is by Nathaniel Hawthorne. I really need to read this because this is one of the stories that The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter is based off of. So I need to read this so that when I reread it again next year, I'll have this under my belt. Yay. And finally, the last one is to read a book that includes dragons in any way. And I want to read Realms of Mist and Ash, which is book 2 in the Feywitch Chronicles by J.S. Malcolm. I really, really, really enjoyed book 1 earlier this year, I think back in May. So I'm excited to get on to book 2. You went through all your Kindle books. That's how I was feeling. I was just like searching sky, 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 and I just didn't want any of them. So I feel you on that. That's a really hard challenge, and it's a really frustrating challenge. This is definitely the one that I'm going to do last, that I care about least. Anyway. Next is Charms, and the first one is to read a book with magic in it, and for that I chose Sea Witch by Sarah Henning. This one just came out today, and it's telling the backstory of Ursula, essentially. I don't think it's Ursula, though, because it's not Disney, so it's the Little Mermaid. It's a backstory of the Sea Witch, which is why it's called Sea Witch. Wow. But I got this on audio from the library, and I'm excited to get to it. Especially when you have over 1,000 Kindle books. Yeah, I was doing the same. I was searching on my Goodreads, I was searching on my husband's, I was searching, like, the libraries, I was searching my bookstore. There's nothing that looks good. Number 2, to get an E, you have to read a book with a cover that charmed you. So for that, I chose Summer Days and Summer Nights by Stephanie Perkins. I really, really, really love the UK covers for these so much. I have the UK cover for her other one, My True Love Gave to Me, and it's beautiful. And so I'm really excited to read this, and I plan on reading like a story every day. And I really want to buy the cover, this edition of this as well. But I love these covers. I think they're so cool. And this one has bright pink pages. I think this one might have bright yellow pages. Don't quote me on that. Anyway, this just really, I think, is beautiful. You went for Jar of Hearts for a cover that charmed you. This one's a super new release too. I do like how they made parts of it fuzzy. I was like looking at this cover and it was tripping me out a few weeks ago. While I hate Anna and the French Kiss and I think it's garbage, Lola has cheating in it as well. They both have cheating in it. And Isla was actually okay. And then the last one is to read a book that you think will leave a mark. And for that, I chose to reread The Ghost in the Big Brass Bed by Bruce Colville. This is one of the first books that I read that like really made me sob. And the ghost that they find in this one is a little girl who died of the influenza epidemic in 1918, and her dad, who is a painter. And it was really interesting, and I loved it. And I just remember it really like hit a chord with me when I was a kid. So I really want to reread this, and hopefully I love it just as much now. And the only thing is that I'm going to be listening to The Case of the Bizarre Bouquet. I think that's the one. We're going to be listening to the third Enola Holmes book together, Chris and I might switch this book out for that one simply because I will for sure be getting through that because he's listening to it with me, so we'll see. You don't read any of them. You don't condone cheating. No, I agree, Elizabeth. It shouldn't be condoned and romanticized, and yet it is in teen literature, and everyone acts like it's okay, and I didn't hear anyone talking about the problems in those books until very recently. So when I read them like over 4 years ago is when I read Anna and the French Kiss. I was astounded and I hated it. It was trash. So, anyway, don't recommend. It's not worth the time of day, in my opinion. You should read Galaxy Girls. Oh, I don't know anything about this. Okay. I'll add it. I mean, it has a horrible cover, but she looks like a child, yet it's a romance book, so that's kind of what threw me off. But ooh, it feels like it will be like traumatizing, like Handmaid's Tale, but I'm all about feminist literature. Oh, you meant by Libby Jackson. Okay, let's try it again. Okay. This one, In a Galaxy of Our Own, totally different. Okay, that also looks up my alley. I think I found the book you're talking about. Is this it? If you like, it's fine if you want to read it and enjoy it because it had some good aspects, but no one ever mentioned it for years. Nobody did. I was astounded when I read it. No, he dates his girlfriend until like chapter end. Like that like second to last chapter. He kisses her while he's still dating someone else. US cover and title are a little different. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. I was like, why? That's not even called Galaxy Girls. Okay, that makes sense. That's so funny. Are you not American? What are you, Elizabeth? Is it the last chapter? I don't know. It's very close to the end, though. It really irritated me. Okay. Moving on, though. Let's talk about some books I'm not excited about reading. Okay, so read a last book in a series. Okay, so this is for Defense Against the Dark Arts. I think that's so funny. Defense Against the Dark Arts, and she's having to read a last book in a series. Because no one ever does it. Okay, and I chose Blame It on the Duke by Lenora Bell. I really didn't like book 1 and book 2, so I'll probably DNF it, but I'm supposed to read it because it was like a 2017 Rita, and I'm supposed to read it for my 2018 book bingo, romance, blah blah blah, and I don't want to read it, but it's the only book that really appealed to me on that, so we'll see. We'll see if this book gets dropped, but I'm not excited about it. But she's forcing me, and Tantor sent this to me like over a year ago to read and review, and I haven't because I was dreading it so much. So, also, Eloisa James, maybe stop lying to me. I don't love Lenora Bell, but I love you. Stop. You are American. Okay. I don't know if they make her absolutely horrible, but I don't think they make her very likable. Yeah, she doesn't understand him. Anna just gets him so much better. Gotta fight them, yes. Alright, let's move on from this garbage. Next one is to read a foiled book. And for that I chose The Hero's Guide to Saving Your Kingdom. This whole part back here, this silver part, is all foiled. I own the physical book. I swear it is. And I'm really excited to finally get to this. It's gonna happen, and I cannot wait. And then finally, to read a book with dark in the title or series name. And for that, I'm reading Siren Secrets, book 1 in the Dark Seas series. And this is by Debbie Herbert. And this is a Harlequin Nocturne novel. And I've never read a Harlequin imprint book before, so I'm excited, and hopefully it does not disappoint. Let's see. There's 3 books in this series, so yay, starting a new series. Just what I need. Now, you guys, don't absolutely lose it, okay? But the Divination, a book set in the future, I chose Cinder by Marissa Meyer. Hopefully this finally happens this month. Let's see. And then the next one is to read a book under 200 pages. So I chose What Happens at Con by Kathy Yardley. This just came out today. I'm so excited to read it. This, I cannot wait. And it's going to be great. I'm so excited. I might just slip it in and read it like tomorrow for the beginning of the readathon. That might just happen because I'm so excited to read it. Okay, and the next one is to read, and that one is 158 pages. And then the next one is that right? Is it 158 pages? Hold the phone, you guys. Hold the phone. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do, I've just now decided, I'm going to move this one, What Happens at Con, and replace, I think, Rappaccini's Daughter, because it's under 160, and then I'm going to replace this one, I think, with reading a book, with reading that Enola Holmes book with Christopher. I think that's what I'm going to do, because that will like cut one more book out. I mean, we'll see what happens, but I may do that. It's a thing. Anyway, the next one is to read a mythology book, and I chose one of the most obvious books ever, Norse Mythology by Neil Gaiman. I've been in a super big Neil Gaiman like reading mood recently, so I'm just making my way through all his books. Christopher really didn't like this one, but I don't know really much about Norse mythology at all, so I think it will be hard to disappoint me since I know nothing. Alright, let's keep this moving. You might have to add that one, you love mermaid type books. I have not read a ton of them, surprisingly. I was really obsessed with mermaids when I was younger, though. Bruna loves Cinder. Elizabeth wants to read Cinder. Libby loves Cinder. Judith is reading Scarlet. So everyone's obsessed with Lunar Chronicles. We get it. Okay, next one is herbology. The first one is to read a book with green on the cover, and for that I chose To Love a Duchess by Karen Ranney. This is brand new, just came out today. Hopefully it's good. The next one is to read a book with illustrations, and for that I chose the next volume of Yotsuba and exclamation point by Kyohiko Azuma. And I'm on volume 7, so that's what I will be reading. I'm real excited about it. And finally, next one is to read a book with either the word light, air, sun, or water in the title. And for that, I chose Sun and Moon, Ice and Snow. This is an East retelling. I think I may just reread East of the Sun, West of the Moon instead, though. It just depends on how I'm feeling in the moment, but this is a thing. This may happen. I have only read like one or two other Jessica Day George books before, and they were so long ago and I don't remember anything. I don't know if I'm totally in the mood for this though, because I'm currently reading East. I don't think I'll get it. There's no way I'm going to get it done before August though, so I won't end up finishing it until September. So we'll see. We'll see if I want to do another East of the Sun, West of the Moon retelling. That one's actually probably going to change. Yay! And next, we have some more intense books in this round. Okay, so History of Magic, a book that you think will fit right in at the Hogwarts library. So, I don't know. I have watched other people's TBR videos, but I don't think a lot of people did History of Magic. So for this one, I was very, like, I didn't know what to choose, because I'm really boring and I'm very, like, pragmatic. And so when I think a book that will fit in at the Hogwarts library and people are holding up like fluffy like current fiction, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, that wouldn't fit in at Hogwarts. No. So I chose Our Tempestuous Day by Carol Lee Erickson, a history of Regency England. And I figured they would have this for Muggle studies. It's a book all about England and Regency era. I think it would totally fit in with the Hogwarts library. So anyway, that's what I did. Alright. Okay, you're adding level up to my TBR. Yay, read it. I'm so excited, Judith. They have it on Audible Romance. Read it, please. I'm so excited for you to read it and tell me how much you love it. I didn't love the first book, but book 2 and book 3... I adore. You might have to sync and borrow it. Do it, Elizabeth. Read it with me. You really enjoyed Norse mythology. I like Neil Gaiman's narration a lot, though, so I think I'll enjoy him reading them to me. You hear they get even better. I've heard that Cinder's one of the best. I heard Scarlet's the worst, though, so don't slump yourself out. I'm not sure. like random ones from both. I guess Hans Christian Andersen wins for the fact that the Tinderbox is my favorite fairy tale, but I love both, but I need to read more of both of them. I know I've read a lot of both of them, but I need to read more of both of them and get straight in my head like which versions and which what are from each other, and then Andrew Lang's thrown in there, and Perot, and is that his name? And yeah, it's just a lot. But I guess Anderson. Haunted artifacts. See, that seems like something that would also fit in Hogwarts Library. That's the only other thing I could think of as well. I was like, I could just reread Fantastic Beasts or Quidditch Through the Ages because I haven't read them since I was like 8, but I don't want to put myself through that torture. You're gonna start tomorrow? Yay! I have not read Jacoby. The cover has a creepy doll on the front. Oh, yay. What I watched today is I watched Shane Dawson's video series that he made with Graveyard Girl, and she has so many baby dolls in her house. It's insane. Okay, next one is to read a book published at least 5 years ago, and for that I chose A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith. This was published in 1943, so I think it counts. I have to read this for my book club with my sisters, so hopefully I don't give up since it's like 500 pages long. And then the last one is to read a book at least 400 pages long. And for that I chose The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. I wasn't intending on reading this initially, but one of the prompts for the book bingos that I'm doing is to read like a queer romance, a queer historical romance. I would rather read like queer contemporary romance. So I was trying to think, I'm like, what's a queer historical romance that I'm interested in? And I tried a couple, because I wasn't intending on reading this initially this month at all. So I was trying some like last month and in June, and I was struggling. I could not get into any of the ones I was trying on Audible, and I was like, I can't deal. These are so, ugh. And then I was like, okay, I'll just read this because everyone loves it. So hopefully I love it too. The illustrated one I'm sure is a lot better than the original, which is what I own. I have the original one with like Harry and Ron riding all over it like the turds they are. It's like Supernatural Sherlock Holmes feel. Oh, that sounds interesting. I'm pretty sure it's on my TBR. Oh, nice. One of these days, right? Alright, so next one is Muggle Studies. Read a book written by one of your favorite authors, and for that I chose Born to be Wild by Eloisa James. This is the third book in her Wilds of Lindo Castle series, and I think this is the conclusion. Nope, there's gonna be a fourth book. I just found out today. Dang. Anyway, might as well add that to my TBR. This one just came out today, so I'm excited to get to it. I really enjoyed book 2 that I read. I think I read it in June. I'm excited to get to this one, though. The next one is to read a biography. So I chose The Woman Who Smashed Codes, A True Story of Love Spies and the Unlikely Heroine Who Outwitted America's Enemies by Jason Fagon. And this is about Elizabeth Smith. Elizabeth Smith? I'm not sure. Anyway, she was really cool. I read about her in Code Girls, and so I'm excited to read a book fully dedicated to her. And then the last one for that one, for Muggle Studies, is to read a retelling, and for that I'm going to be reading Kiss of the Spindle book 2 in the steampunk proper romance series by Nancy Campbell Allen. The first book is Beauty and the Clockwork Beast, which I enjoyed but was pretty fluffy. And I read that back in last year. I don't remember what time last year, though. I did read it last year. No. I think I read it in 2016. Ooh, it was a while ago. Anyway, this one just came out on the 3rd. So it came out less than a month ago. And this was going to be my first read of the Readathon. We'll see if that actually happens, though. And I'm very excited. I don't think they're the most amazing things ever, but they're fun. I DNF'd Miss Peregrine's. I didn't really enjoy it. The pictures felt very forced in the story, in my opinion, as well. Yeah, don't buy any more books, Keisha. Oh, sorry, Libby. Whoops. Out, Proud and Prejudiced by Megan Redway. Nice. Is it historical, though? Okay. And finally, not finally, there's another category. Okay, let's talk about the next category. Alright, so the first one, this is for potions, has a name of a color in the title. I'm not sure what that has to do with potions, but whatever, we'll go with it. And I chose Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. I did like Uprooted. I'm not like obsessed with it like everyone else seems to be, but I did really like it, and I'm so excited because this one is actually a retelling. Uprooted is not a retelling. This is actually a retelling, and I'm excited to see how she does with that. It looks awesome though, and it sounds almost awesome. The premise is so cool. Okay, next one is to read a book with a male lead character, and for that I chose The Highwayman by Kerrigan Byrne? Sure. Anyway, I think this has like a dual perspective, I'm guessing, but I do think a lot of it is in his perspective, and I've heard awesome things about it, and I have to read it for my book bingo anyway, so might as well use it. And then the last one is to read a book that's over 350 pages long, and for that I chose The Raven Boys. It's 408 pages long, by Maggie Stiefvater. I'm laughing, and I'll tell you why I'm laughing in a second. But that's my choice. Okay, and then finally, the last 3 books for this challenge. Let's see if we can get them all done, shall we? Alright, the next one is for Transfiguration. The first one is to read a book with a gray cover. Is that because McGonagall turns gray when she's a cat? I don't know where some of these come from. Anyway, I chose Landline by Rainbow Rowell. This is a reread for me, but I'm so excited to reread it. It's going to be great. And then the next one, which is why I was laughing, is to read a book from an author you haven't read anything of before. And initially I had The Raven Boys under this category, and I had this one under the read a book that's over 350 pages. And then I was like, wait a second. Literally last night, I was like, wait a second. I have read something by Maggie Stiefvater before. And then I had to like scramble, and I'm like, where can I switch these books? Oh no, what's going to happen? And then I was like, oh, I can just switch these two. It's really easy because this one's 380, the other one's 400, whatever, it's fine. I've never read anything by her before because I think this was her debut. No, it's not. No, it was? Yeah, I think this was her debut, so... When Dimple Met Rishi by, I don't know how to say her name. I'm horrible. Sandhya Menon? Something. Anyway, I initially wasn't planning on reading this one either, but again, for the book bingo romance, I have to read a book set at a summer camp. So I'm like, okay, fine. I'll read When Freaking Dimple Met Rishi. Maybe. This is subject to change if I can find another book set at summer camp, because I'm pretty sure I won't like this book, but we'll see. I think I'll dislike it less than I would if I hadn't been warned that she ends up not caring about her coding as much and caring about a boy, which really irritates me. Anyway, I have not seen Miss Peregrine movie because I don't watch movies, and it looked not good. You want to read everything mood. That's an awesome mood to be in, though, Judith. You'd pick that book up just for the hot guy on the cover. Oh, the Highwayman. What am I reading the Highwayman for? Let me check. The Highwayman is for where the heroine's eyes are described using the ocean. That's the one that I'm using it for. I've heard that this counts for this one. I will let you guys know how I like the Raven Boys. "55 Graves." I don't think I know that one. You have lots to pick from, so you can, yeah. I feel like that's a super easy one to do. Currently rereading a Doctor Who book. I've never read anything Doctor Who. I tried to read Doctor Who fairy tales and I just wasn't in the mood, so I put it back on my TBR and I'll try it again in the future. Oh, has graves on it. Alright, and then the last one is a book that is set in a kingdom / has royals. And for this I want to reread A Wizard Named Nell, Book 1 in the Keepers by Jackie French Kohler. This is about a princess who I think runs away because she wants to do something that she's not supposed to do. I don't know. I read it forever ago. I really loved it when I read it. And what's also really exciting is Jackie French Kohler's series, The Dragonlings, just got reprinted. So they're from 1990. They just got reprinted like this month. So if I really love this series and rereading this series, I can go back and read that series because they have it at the bookstore, which is so cool. I love when books get reprinted with like awesome covers and stuff. Okay. Alright, and that's it. That is my NEWTs TBR. So we'll see what happens. I'm not a miracle worker, but I think I can do it. This month, my total pages that I ended up reading in July was like 8,000 and something. And I only have to read 7,000 to like get everything done that I absolutely need to. Plus the books I currently have checked out from the library. And then I have to get to 11,000 if I'm going to do all of the challenges. So we'll see what ends up happening. But there's like a minimum and a maximum that I can go for. I at least want to hit my minimum, and then anything past that is good. So for sure the ones that I know I'm going to be doing is Arithmancy, Defense Against the Dark Arts, History of Magic, Muggle Studies, and Potions. And then after that, I think I'd like to get to Transfiguration and Charms. And then after that, I'm just going to go like crazy and do whatever I can. I did end up, because I'm a little nutso, I did end up doing like a plan out thing where I've planned out what I'm going to read. Anyway, the books that are in blue on the bottom are books that are high priority I have to get to this month. The books that are in green are medium priority. Like, they were like The second books, they were for my O's, not my O's, for my E's, so I have to read them before I can get my O's, so those are ones that I have to read for that next. And then my next priority are yellow books, which are the ones I'm most excited for that are O's. And then the rest of them, these ones are actually the next ones that I'm going to try to get to, and those are the rest of my O's, and then the last ones are the rest of my E's. No, sorry. Well, I said that backwards. The orange ones are the rest of my O's, my E's that I would need to get. I need to get my E's, and then I can get the rest of my O's. I hope that made sense. So anyway, I've like color coordinated them of like priority. Anyway, it'll be a fun month. No, I work at a new bookstore. You have more books than I have on my list. Oh no, Melody, I'm sorry. Welcome, though. You love my planning. I don't know, I just do it. Hi, kitty. I don't know, I just do it. It's not, I just turn on an audiobook or a YouTube video and I just do it. I don't know. It just comes naturally to me because I'm crazy. Anyway, I'm really excited. If you want to see my reading plans for the first week of the Readathon, I'm planning on reading Kiss of the Spindle, Born to be Wild, Sea Witch, most of A Duke by Default, and then starting The Woman Who Smashed Codes, starting Summer Days and Summer Nights, starting A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. And those are like my first 5 days of my plans. I have the first few weeks planned out because I have books checked out from the library and I need to get to them before they get returned. And then after that, it's kind of like a free-for-all of like wherever I feel like reading, which will be nice. So this is like my, if I want to get everything read this month, and I'll split them up, so like, as you see, Woman Who Smashed Codes is going along the top right here. That's because it's nonfiction. I'd rather spread it out over several days like that and read it consistently. Same thing with Summer Days for Summer Nights, where it's like, I would like to just read like a story a day, so I want to like have that spread out. And then Our Tempestuous Day is another nonfiction. I spread that one out, and Norse Mythology is another short story collection. So I spread that one out. I believe it's a short story collection. Anyway, those are the ones that I decided to spread out. And then from there, I also decided to spread out A Tree Grows in Brooklyn because it's a classic. I don't know if I'm going to like it, so I'm just going to try to listen to 2 hours every day. And then from there, I'm just going to read whatever I want the other times. So anyway. I do love working at a bookstore. I wish the people in the bookstore cared about books more. They care more about the gifts aspect, but I still do really love it. And it means that I'm like I'm the cream of the crop when it comes to the book people, because I've read the most. I've read more than anyone else there, even the adults, and I love reading more than everyone else there. So even though there are other readers that work there, I can very confidently say that, like, I love it the most and I care about it the most. So, like, when people who don't read at all and who don't care about books at all and are just care about the gifts and work in the gifts, they shove all the book customers at me, which I really enjoy because then I get to help people find books all day long, which is awesome. Anyway, rant about work. I have so much fun organizing it. And basically what I did, if you want to know, this is how I planned my reading. Let's see. August 2018 calendar. Okay. So this is August. I realized that I can read the most on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. So then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. I have 13, sorry. I have 13 days off of work. Even though I do work Saturdays, I still get a lot of reading in usually on Saturdays, so I counted it. 13 week offs, like days off or whatever. And then I have 18 days where I do work full time, like 8 hours a day. So I know that, so then I just added up on my spreadsheet, I added up how many books. Let's see if I can just make a new one so I can stop having to switch back and forth. Okay. So then on my spreadsheet, I added up all the hours that it would take for me to listen to them. So here they all are, and here are the hours. That's 314. And so then I ended up dividing, like realizing, well, if I listen to like 15 hours on those weekends, and then I subtracted that, then that leaves you with this much. So then I have to read like 7 hours on each weekday. And that's how I ended up splitting it up. And it was really easy. And that's what I did. Anyway. That's how I plan out my reading. And it's a bit crazy. So I know how much I have to get to every day. So it doesn't matter what I read, as long as I am reading that, I can fit everything else in. I don't think I'll be able to get to everything, but I'm hoping. Alright, and then finally, let's pull up okay, here's my Audible. First thing to look up, let's look up Kathy Yardley. Oh no, did I spell it wrong? Does she have an E in her name? I did spell that wrong. I'm a horrible person. Oh no, does her last name have an E in it? Kathy Yardley. There we go. I can read. Okay. Oh, perfect. So misbehave is, I think, the 4.5 in that series that I'm like kind of becoming obsessed with. Anyway, this is a 4.5 in the Nerdy series. The first book is Level Up. I'm reading What Happens at Con. So this one comes out on the 2nd of October. So I'm just gonna add it to my cart. So it will be one of the books that I try to get to. Okay. So these are 2 books. Okay, so basically what's going on is that I have a $10 credit from Audible right now. It doesn't say that I do. It's still in my email, but I have it. So that's $9. Plus, I'm planning on going over quite a bit. So let's look at the books that I'm interested in for the Audible sale and add them all to my cart right now. And then I'll have to go through and be more selective. Oh, look at that. And I didn't do it on this phone. I have it on my old phone. So let's look at them all anew. No? Okay, here we go. Let's go through. These are the ones that I'm interested in. So Chris already bought Hyperion. Oh no, let me do 50 per page, because that'll make it a lot faster. If you don't count Agatha Christie and Dr. Misbehave is a good title. I'm really excited to read it. I'm really excited to read all of them. Okay, what am I excited to read? And quite a few of these, even if I don't own them, Chris does. What did I add? What did I add? You guys should read The Three-Body Problem. It was really interesting. Okay. Nice Girls Don't Have Fangs. I want to read. Is that really the first book so far? That's so sad. I really want to reread Frankenstein, but I don't care if it's this narrator. I will find a different narrator. I know there were a ton that were on my list, so I just have to find them. Is Halfway to the Grave... This is about vampires, right? She's a vampire hunter? Is that right? Okay. Ooh, Wind Up Girl. That looks interesting. I don't think I'm going to buy it, but I'm definitely going to look at it. I've heard really good things about Nice Dragons Finish Last. Okay, I know it looks like I'm not interested in any of these, but the ones that I was interested in must be on a later page, because I have like 10 that I know I was interested in. Or I'm just dumb and I passed them all. And the phone's squealing again. Shadow and Bone is one. I'm very tempted to get Ancillary Justice, but I think I won't this time around. I would get Locked In, but... Or Lock-In, sorry. I would get Lock-In, but Chris already owns it, so I'm gonna just read his. I think it's a pretty good sale. I mean, all these books are between $5 and $7, which is an awesome price, so. I do the same, Keisha. She's a vampire hunter. Okay, and is it a romance book? Or is it just urban fantasy? Or is it urban fantasy romance? We'll Save the Galaxy for Food was funny. I think this is the one Chris got. Now I'm confused. Were there two 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea? Sheep Farmer's Daughter was another one. I've been really wanting to read Elizabeth Moon for a long time. The Strange Affair of Spring-Killed Jack is another one that I want to read, that I was thinking about getting. Among Others is another one I was considering, and it's narrated by Catherine Kellgren, but I think I don't care about it quite as much as some of these other ones, so I'm not even going to add it. Okay. Alright, good. I think I'll use that for my vampire book then. For my year-long reading challenge that I'm doing for romance. Ghost Talkers, I think I'm definitely probably gonna get, because Chris told me that he thinks I'll really like it. This is a Cinderella retelling, right? Yeah, it's a Cinderella retelling with a by Cinderella, I believe. I'll add it to my wish list, but I don't think I want to buy it right now. I've read so many fairy tale retellings recently. I don't need more right now. So a lot of these I'm skipping because I know I can get them through. Is this a sequel, I wonder? No. Okay. Anyway. I don't know what I was saying. A lot of them I'm skipping because I know I can get them through the library. So, like, even though I'm interested in them, I'm like, oh, I know my library owns that, so I'll just read theirs. Because why not? Wind up, girl. Let's look at this, because it sounds interesting. Excuse me? You didn't like Wild Magic? I know I've listened to it before, but I really enjoy full cast narration, or I did in the past. I don't know if I still do. Secondhand curses. I just said I can't do any more fairy tale retellings, and I'm reading so many more in August as well. I just need to stop. I mean, I'm definitely not going to get it right now, but I mean, I'll add it to, like, a very, like, maybe TBR. Oh no, why does it have such a horrible audio edition? Is there not a real cover for this book? Apparently not. Oh well. I guess I'll just have to deal with this smashed, weird, Audible original. I didn't know it was a fairy tale retelling. What is it a retelling of? Or is it just like a mishmash? Ooh. Oh no, no, no. It was written exclusively for audio. Wow. Okay. Well. It's a mishmash. Okay. It will be on my temporary TBR. Do you know what it's a mishmash of? I don't know if I can tell out just from whatever, but I'll add it to my fairy tale shelf. Okay. So what does that put me at in my cart? I know I had more than this. But anyway, I think that's more than enough to choose from. These are the ones I'm most interested in. A couple of them might get moved. I'm not going to buy them right now because I need to switch my credit over and stuff. But anyway, I think that's it for today then. With a bonus Audible shopping thrown in at the end. I really want to get Cheerful Weather for the wedding, but I don't know if I like the narrator for it, so I'm going to try a sample of it again by Julia Strachey. It's a very short classic, I think from like the 30s or so. And I've read like half of it before physically, and I think the audiobook would help me. And then Misbehave I'm definitely getting. Anyway, I guess that's it for tonight. Thank you guys so much for spending time with me instead of reading your Booktubeathon books if you're participating in Booktubeathon, which I am not this year. I don't think I talked about it, but the only reason I'm not participating in Booktubeathon is because of that stupid hat challenge. It's really, really, really dumb, and I would have participated, but I'm not going to participate if I'm not going to do every single challenge, and that's a challenge and I refuse to do it. So I'm like, there's no point in me doing Booktubeathon, which I think I'm actually going to really enjoy, being able to just like sit back and read my books and not have to worry about fitting them into challenges and stuff, and just like do my own thing, and then get to enjoy everyone's like vlogs and videos and everything like that. So it's like a win-win situation for me, but that like is genuinely the only reason. And I was like, this is just, no, I'm not. I'm too prideful to do it. Anyway. Keisha, that sounds awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I'm definitely interested in reading that one. Alright, well, anyway. Thanks so much. Okay, well, let me know as soon as you know what it's about, because it does sound right up my alley. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I super appreciate it. I've said this like 80 times, but y'all are awesome, and we'll see if this actually ends up happening, but I'm thinking of doing vlogs for the NEWTs Readathon, so Anyway, I'll see you all very soon. Bye, everyone. Thank you for the good luck. I think I'm gonna need it if I'm gonna get all of them. That's $36.